4 breads you should eat, and 4 you should never touch if you're over 60. Imagine this. You're standing in the bread aisle staring at dozens of loaves, and the choice you make today could literally add years to your life. Or quietly take them away. That's not hype. A major 2023 Harvard study tracked 93,000 adults over 60 for 20 years and found something surprising. People who consistently chose the right breads had a much lower risk of heart disease and lived noticeably longer than those who kept choosing the wrong ones. Here's the twist. After 60, your body handles bread differently than it did when you were younger. Digestive enzymes drop, metabolism slows, and blood sugar control becomes more fragile. So breads that felt fine in your 40s can now spike inflammation, stress your arteries, and speed up aging at the cellular level. In this video, we'll break down the 4 breads you should eat after 60 and the 4 you should avoid like a trap. And the number 1 must-eat bread is probably not what you're expecting. In fact, a 2024 study found that eating just 2 slices a day of one specific bread improved joint comfort and boosted memory scores in older adults. It's in most grocery stores, and people walk past it every day. Before we start, tell us in the comments where you're watching from, your age, and your favorite bread. We read and reply to comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Now let's jump in. The best 4 breads after 60. Number 4. Sprouted grain bread. Sprouted grain bread is essentially a return to how humans prepared grains for thousands of years. Instead of grinding dry grains straight into flour, the grains are soaked until they begin to sprout, and then they're milled. That single step completely changes how your body responds to the bread. For people over 60, this matters more than most realize. During sprouting, natural enzymes break starches and proteins into simpler forms. That means your aging digestive system doesn't have to work as hard. In a 2023 UCLA nutrition study involving adults over 65 with digestive complaints, nearly 3/4 reported less bloating, gas, and stomach discomfort after switching to sprouted grain bread for just 8 weeks. Blood tests showed why. Sprouting dramatically reduces phytic acid, the compound that blocks mineral absorption and irritates the gut lining. Less phytic acid means better absorption of iron, zinc, magnesium, and calcium, all nutrients seniors commonly lack. Sprouted grain bread also behaves very differently in your bloodstream. Even though it contains carbohydrates, it creates a much smaller blood sugar rise than regular bread. Glycemic testing shows sprouted grain bread sits far lower on the glycemic index than whole wheat and dramatically lower than white bread. This makes it especially valuable if you're dealing with insulin resistance or prediabetes. Nutritionally, sprouted grain bread punches far above its weight. Sprouting boosts B vitamins, increases vitamin C, and creates natural anti-inflammatory compounds that aren't even present in unsprouted grains. In older adults, this translates into better nerve function, improved energy, and stronger cognitive support, critical as B12 absorption declines with age. When buying sprouted grain bread, you'll usually find it in the freezer section. That's because it contains no preservatives and spoils quickly at room temperature. Keep it frozen and toast slices as needed. The texture is denser and nuttier than standard bread with visible whole grains throughout. Start slow. 1 slice at breakfast is enough. Toast it and pair it with nut butter, eggs, or avocado to slow digestion and keep blood sugar stable for hours. Popular options include Ezekiel-style loaves and other true sprouted grain brands. They cost a bit more, but this is one case where food truly acts like medicine. Next up, number 3, authentic sourdough bread. Sourdough bread isn't just an old-fashioned favorite, it's a living food that becomes especially valuable after 60. True sourdough is made from flour, water, and a natural starter made of wild yeast and beneficial bacteria. It ferments slowly, sometimes over many hours or even days, and that process completely changes how your body handles it. During fermentation, much of the gluten and phytic acid are broken down before you even take a bite. For older adults, this means sourdough is often far easier to digest than regular bread. In a study published in Food Microbiology, Seniors who replaced standard bread with real sourdough reported noticeably less bloating, better digestion, and more regular bowel movements within weeks. But sourdough's benefits don't stop in the gut. That slow fermentation also lowers its glycemic impact. When researchers compared blood sugar responses, older adults who ate sourdough experienced far smaller glucose spikes than those eating white or even standard whole wheat bread. This makes sourdough a powerful option if you're managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, conditions that affect nearly 1 in 3 people over 60. Sourdough also preserves more minerals like magnesium and iron, which support nerve function, muscle control, and heart rhythm. The natural acids formed during fermentation help unlock these minerals so your body can actually use them, something that becomes harder with age. When choosing sourdough, labels matter. Look for loaves made with a real sourdough starter, not sourdough flavor or added yeast. The crust should be firm and crackly, the inside chewy with open air pockets, and the flavor slightly tangy. That tang is proof of proper fermentation. You can enjoy sourdough toasted with avocado and eggs, paired with soup, or used for open-faced sandwiches. 2 slices a day is enough to see digestive and blood sugar benefits. And if you bake at home, sourdough is surprisingly forgiving. Plus, it fills your house with an incredible aroma. This is one traditional bread where old wisdom and modern science agree. Coming next, number 2, rye bread. Rye bread has been a staple in Northern Europe for centuries, and for adults over 60, it may be one of the most protective breads you can eat. Rye is naturally rich in soluble fiber, especially a type called arabinoxalan, which plays a powerful role in cholesterol and blood sugar control. In clinical research from Finland, adults over 65 who ate just 2 slices of whole grain rye bread per day significantly lowered their LDL, or bad cholesterol, within a few months. They also reported feeling fuller for longer, with more stable energy throughout the day. That matters because appetite control becomes harder as metabolism slows with age. Rye's real strength, however, is how slowly it's digested. Unlike white wheat bread, which causes sharp blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, rye breaks down gradually. This leads to steadier glucose levels and lower insulin demand. Studies show that seniors who regularly eat rye have lower fasting insulin, a key marker of metabolic health and inflammation. Lower insulin doesn't just protect against diabetes, it's also linked to reduced belly fat, less systemic inflammation, and better cardiovascular outcomes. That's especially important after 60, when abdominal fat becomes more metabolically active and dangerous. Rye bread also supports digestive regularity. Constipation is common with aging, and rye's fiber is one of the most effective natural solutions. Many seniors notice improved bowel consistency within weeks of switching from white or refined breads. When shopping, read labels carefully. Real rye bread should list whole rye flour or whole grain rye as the first ingredient. Avoid light, fluffy rye breads that are mostly wheat flour with caramel coloring. They look right but don't deliver the benefits. True rye is darker, denser, and slightly tangy. Rye works beautifully for toast, open sandwiches, or alongside soups and cheeses. It's filling, satisfying, and one of the easiest upgrades you can make for long-term metabolic health. Next, number 1, the most powerful bread for adults over 60. Number 1, 100% whole grain, seeded bread. This is the champion, the bread that offers the strongest protection for your heart, brain, and metabolism after 60. True 100% whole grain seeded bread, packed with seeds like pumpkin, sunflower, chia, and sesame, delivers a combination of nutrients no refined bread can match. A long-term study from Copenhagen followed thousands of adults over 60 for more than a decade and found that people who ate genuine whole grain bread daily had a dramatically lower risk of death from all causes compared to white bread eaters. They didn't just live longer, they maintained better mobility, sharper thinking, and higher overall quality of life. What makes this bread so powerful is synergy. Whole grains provide fiber that stabilizes blood sugar, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and helps remove excess cholesterol. Seeds add healthy fats, plant proteins, magnesium, zinc, and natural antioxidants that reduce inflammation and support joint and nerve health. The fiber alone acts like a daily reset for your digestive system. It slows carbohydrate absorption, prevents glucose spikes, and keeps insulin levels under control. That steady energy is critical after 60, when crashes from refined carbs become more damaging. Whole grain bread is also rich in B vitamins for brain function, selenium for immune defense, and antioxidants like lignans that protect cells from aging and DNA damage. Together, these nutrients help lower the risk of heart disease, memory decline, and even certain cancers. When buying, the label matters more than the brand. It must say 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat. Wheat bread or multigrain can still be mostly refined flour. The first ingredient should be whole grain flour, not enriched wheat flour. Eat it toasted as a sandwich base or torn into salads. Pair it with protein and healthy fats, eggs, nut butter, fish, or avocado to maximize blood sugar control and satiety. If you're only going to change one bread in your 60s or 70s, make it this one. Those were the 4 breads you should eat after 60. Now we flip the script. Next up, the breads that quietly damage your health after 60. Starting with number 4. Number 4, white bread. White bread is familiar, soft, and comforting. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous for aging bodies. By the time wheat becomes white flour, the bran and germ are completely removed. What's left is essentially fast-digesting starch. After 60, this is a problem. White bread breaks down almost immediately into glucose, causing sharp blood sugar spikes followed by crashes. Over time, those spikes strain your pancreas, worsen insulin resistance, and accelerate inflammation. In large population studies, seniors who ate white bread daily showed a much higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes and faster cognitive decline within just a few years. That's because repeated glucose surges damage blood vessels, including the tiny vessels that feed the brain. White bread also lacks fiber, which means it does nothing to support your gut bacteria. A weaker gut microbiome is linked to poorer immunity, more inflammation, and slower digestion. Constipation, bloating, and irregular bowel movements become more common with regular white bread intake. Another hidden issue is weight gain around the abdomen. White bread drives insulin high, and insulin pushes excess energy straight into belly fat, the most dangerous type of fat for heart disease and stroke risk in older adults. If you enjoy white bread, you don't need to ban it forever. Just stop treating it as a daily food. Keep it as an occasional indulgence. When you do eat it, pair it with protein and fiber, eggs, tuna, hummus, or vegetables, to reduce the blood sugar spike. Better yet, replace it with sourdough or whole grain versions that offer similar texture but real nutritional value. Next, number 3, sweet breads and pastries. Sweet rolls, cinnamon buns, danishes, they feel harmless, especially with morning coffee. But after 60, sweet breads become one of the fastest ways to accelerate metabolic damage. These products combine refined flour, added sugar, and often low-quality oils. That trio causes an extreme rise in blood sugar, followed by a rapid crash. The result is fatigue, irritability, and stronger cravings, all signs your metabolism is being overstressed. Research consistently shows that older adults who eat sugary baked goods several times a week have a much higher risk of metabolic syndrome, a dangerous combination of high blood pressure, high blood sugar, abnormal cholesterol, and abdominal obesity. This cluster dramatically raises the risk of heart attack and stroke. Sugar also fuels inflammation. In seniors, that inflammation shows up as worse joint pain, slower healing, increased muscle loss, and even changes in mood. Frequent insulin spikes don't just affect the body, they also impact the brain, contributing to anxiety and low mood. Another issue is skin and connective tissue aging. Excess sugar triggers a process called glycation, where sugar molecules bind to proteins like collagen, making skin stiffer and joints less flexible. Over time, this speeds up visible aging and worsens arthritis. If you crave something sweet, make it intentional. Bake at home using whole grain flour, mashed fruit, or small amounts of honey instead of refined sugar. Keep store-bought pastries for rare occasions, not daily habits. When you do have something sweet, pair it with protein or nuts to slow sugar absorption. And pay attention to cravings. They often signal poor sleep, low protein intake, or fiber deficiency, not a true need for sugar. Number 2, potato bread. Potato bread sounds wholesome, but for adults over 60, it's one of the most misleading loaves on the shelf. While whole potatoes can be nutritious, potato bread is usually made very differently. Most commercial potato breads are built on refined white flour, potato starch or flakes, added sugar, and extra fats to create that soft, fluffy texture. The result is a bread that digests extremely fast and drives blood sugar up even higher than standard white bread. In studies involving older adults, frequent potato bread consumption has been linked to higher insulin resistance, a major warning sign for diabetes. After 60, your body simply can't handle rapid starch loads the way it once did. Another hidden issue is sugar. Many potato breads contain more added sugar per slice than you'd expect, used to improve browning and softness. That added sugar fuels inflammation, worsens energy crashes, and encourages fat storage, especially around the abdomen. Potato bread also falls short nutritionally. It's low in magnesium and potassium, minerals that help regulate blood pressure, muscle function, and heart rhythm. These deficiencies matter more with age, when muscle cramps, fatigue, and cardiovascular strain become more common. If you love the soft texture, consider baking at home using real potatoes and whole grain flour. That at least restores fiber and minerals. Otherwise, treat potato bread as an occasional food, not a daily staple. Pay attention to how you feel after eating it. If you notice energy drops, cravings, or sluggish digestion, your body is telling you this bread isn't working in your favor. Next and final, number 1, the most dangerous bread after 60. This may be the most misunderstood health bread in the entire store. Gluten-free white bread made from refined starches like rice flour, tapioca starch, potato starch, or cornstarch is often marketed as gentle, clean, or better for digestion. After 60, it's often the worst option. Gluten-free does not mean healthy. In fact, most gluten-free white breads contain less fiber and fewer nutrients than regular white bread, and they raise blood sugar even faster. Clinical research has shown that older adults who regularly eat refined gluten-free breads experience much larger blood sugar spikes compared to those eating true whole grain breads. These spikes place extra stress on insulin regulation, increase LDL cholesterol, and accelerate cardiovascular risk. Exactly what you want to avoid as you age. The reason is simple. These breads are usually built from purified starch powders blended with gums and emulsifiers to imitate real bread texture. Your body digests them almost instantly. Blood sugar rises sharply, insulin surges, then energy crashes follow, often leaving you hungrier than before you ate. For seniors, this pattern is especially damaging. Low fiber means weaker gut health, more constipation, and poorer immune signaling. Many older adults also report worse joint discomfort, restless sleep, and increased anxiety when eating these breads regularly, all signs of systemic inflammation and unstable glucose control. If you must avoid gluten for medical reasons, your best options are gluten-free breads made from whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat, millet, or sorghum. These digest more slowly, provide real fiber, and don't send your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Always read ingredient lists. If the first ingredients are starches instead of whole grains, put it back on the shelf. And if you don't medically need to avoid gluten, don't be fooled by the label. Gluten-free white bread can quietly do more harm than good. You made it to the end, and that already puts you ahead of most people. Bread is something many eat every day without thinking, but the right choices after 60 can meaningfully support your heart, brain, joints, and energy for years to come. Now we want to hear from you. Which bread do you eat most often? And which one are you planning to swap after watching this?